7 ordinary things parents do every day that quietly slow a child's brain down. I'll go through all 7 and explain why each one does what it does. The problem is, none of them look like mistakes. It's 6 p.m., dinner isn't done, someone's crying into your leg, so you hand over the tablet. Honestly, good call. I'd have done the same. Most of them look like a Tuesday that went fine. Nothing bad happens today. And that's the trap. All right, welcome. Number 1 hides in the most ordinary hour of your day. Habit 1. Talking with your child, not just to them. You've heard the advice. Talk to your baby constantly. Narrate everything. That came out of one very famous number, the 30 million word gap. That number's been in a fight for years now. One team went and recorded families and found low-income kids hearing far more words than the original study said. And then another team hit straight back, pointing out that the newer study hadn't included a single high-income family, which is where the original gap came from in the first place. Also, a team at MIT recorded 36 children going about a normal day at home. Then they brought those children in, put them in a scanner, and read them stories. The thing that predicted stronger activity in Broca's area, which is the patch of brain that handles language, was not how many words a child had heard. It was how many times they had gone back and forth with an adult. In plain terms, it's not how much you talk, it's how many times the ball comes back over the net. And that held up even after they accounted for family income and the child's own IQ, which is the part that surprised me. So the running commentary while you cook does less than you'd think. It's one way. What actually works is smaller and dumber than that. Your 2-year-old points at the window and says, "Bird." You don't say, "Yes, bird," and go back to the onions. You say, "You saw a bird. Where'd it go?" And then you shut up and wait. Whatever comes back, even one syllable, that's a return. So you send one more. Okay, habit 2 is screens, but probably not for the reason you think. The screen isn't frying his brain. What it does is quieter than that. When the tablet comes on, you stop talking to him. He stops talking to you. And we just said that back and forth is what his brain uses to build the language part. So it's not that screens are bad for him. It's that, for those 2 hours, nothing's getting built. Some researchers in Australia actually measured this. They clipped a little recorder onto 220 kids and left it running, on and off, for 2.5 years. It picked up every word an adult said, every noise the kid made, and every time the 2 of them answered each other. And for the 3-year-olds, 1 extra minute of screen time meant about 7 fewer words from mom or dad. 5 fewer from the kid, and 1 less time they answered each other. 1. That's nothing, right? Except those kids were on screens nearly 3 hours a day. Do the multiplication. Hundreds of words, dozens of little exchanges. Gone out of 1 afternoon, and nobody in that house did anything wrong. It just went quiet. So I'd stop worrying about how many minutes and start asking what the screen took the place of. Half an hour in the car when nobody was going to talk anyway? Fine. Half an hour at dinner? That one's expensive. Which is why I'd just protect 2 spots. The car and the table. Leave those 2 alone, and the talking pretty much takes care of itself. Habit 3. Thinking for him. You know the moment. He's got the puzzle piece upside down. He's been shoving it at the same hole for about 90 seconds. The lip is starting to go, and your hand is already moving. Everybody's hand does this, because you can turn that piece around and have everyone happy in half a second. Some researchers at Stanford filmed a lot of parents in exactly that moment. What they counted was how often a parent jumped in while the kid was still working on it. The more the parents jumped in, the worse those kids were at handling themselves. Not sitting still worse, emotionally worse. The kind of worse that decides whether 6 o'clock ends in tears. My first thought was, Great. So now I'm supposed to sit there and watch a toddler suffer. But that's not what they found. And this next part is the useful bit. If the kid had already given up, staring at the wall, not trying anymore, a parent stepping in did nothing bad at all. Nothing. So helping isn't the problem. Helping while he's still trying is the problem. And you can tell the difference from across the room. If he's still touching it, he's still working on it. Even when all he's doing is whacking one bit of cardboard against another bit of cardboard. That's him working. Habit 4. Filling up every hour. Nobody here is stopping their kid from playing. We just replace it. Swim class, music class, the craft box with the instructions on the lid, all good stuff. But you picked every one of them. And the picking is the part that matters. Researchers in Colorado went through kids' calendars hour by hour. The kids with more empty time were better at setting a goal and going after it. The kids with fuller schedules were worse at it. 70 kids, 6 and 7 years old, and it's only a correlation, but you can see why it would work. If nobody tells him what to do next, he has to decide. That's the muscle. And you can't do it for him. So this isn't put down the tablet and go do something enriching. That's still you filling the hour. Leave 20 minutes empty. He's allowed to be bored, and he's allowed to be loud about it. And the first few minutes will look like nothing's happening. That's exactly when we step in. Habit 5, and I want to be careful with this one. A house that stays tense. This is the odd one out. The other 6 look like a normal day. This one you can hear happening. You've heard that stress damages a kid's brain. That's true, and it's almost always said in a way that just makes parents feel awful. Here's the useful version from Harvard Center on the Developing Child. Stress on its own isn't what does the damage. Kids get scared, kids get hurt, kids have genuinely terrible nights. And if there's an adult right there helping them through it, they recover, fully. The damage comes when it's constant, and there's nobody there to steady him. So it isn't about how loud your house got. It's about whether somebody came back. Which means the night you lost it, the one you're probably still chewing on, is almost certainly not the thing that shaped your kid. The 20 minutes after is. Ed Tronick, who's been filming parents and babies for 40 years, says it flat out. You have to get it wrong sometimes, because getting it wrong is where the learning is. So you were never aiming at a calm house. Nobody has one. You're aiming at coming back. You come back, you tell him the yelling was yours and not his, and bedtime happens when bedtime always happens. Habit 6 is Habit 3's twin. So let me pull them apart. Habit 3 was thinking for him. He's stuck, you hand him the answer. Habit 6 is doing for him. He isn't stuck, he's just slow. The zip, the shoes, pouring his water, carrying his plate to the sink. You're not saving him from anything. You're saving 4 minutes. I'll be straight with you, there's no brain scan behind this one. You may have seen the claim that a 75-year Harvard study proved kids who do chores succeed. That study doesn't exist. Somebody misread a different project and it got repeated until it sounded like science. What there is what he's doing while he buttons his own coat. Steps in order, hands cooperating, getting it wrong twice and carrying on. You do it for him, and none of that runs. So give one thing back this week. 1. And leave 5 minutes earlier so him being slow doesn't cost you anything. Last one. Habit 7. Telling him he's smart. This is the one we're all sure we're getting right. He does something well, and it's out of your mouth before you can stop it. You're so smart. There's a study from 1998. Kids did some puzzles, then got told either you're smart or you worked hard. Then everyone got a much harder set. The ones told they were smart quit sooner, enjoyed it less, decided they just weren't good at it. Those were 10-year-olds, though, so I'd have brushed it off. Except another group recorded regular parents at home with kids between 1 and 3, then came back years later and asked those same kids what they thought ability was. How much those parents had praised effort back then predicted whether the kid, now 7, believed you could get better at things. Something you said to a 2-year-old, showing up 5 years later. And what you're changing is tiny. Instead of, "You're so smart," you kept going when it got hard. Or just, you found another way to do it. So, 7 things. Remember what I said at the start. You could do all of these today and nothing would happen. That's still true. Nothing lands today. These work slowly, quietly, a little at a time, which is exactly why they're so easy to miss. And that's the good news too, because it runs the same way backwards. You don't fix 7 habits. You stop one of them, a little at a time, starting today. So pick one. Once a day, catch yourself about to step in, with your hands, with a word, with the tablet, and don't. I'd love to know in the comments, what's the one thing you always end up doing for your child that they could probably do themselves? I'm guessing a lot of you are about to type shoes. If this made your little one make a bit more sense today, subscribe to hear more. We explain what your child is doing and why.